Camp Randall Stadium in Wisconsin, but the Badgers aren't today's news. The 49ers play off against the Chiefs tomorrow. We've got some news. The latest news came out earlier today, and some more coming out soon. Stay tuned after this.
Let's go get him. Let's go get him today, man. Let's go. Hey, dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I've got my main guy to my right, Raj. All you guys know him as RSF 49ers, obviously one of the best in the business. Raj, thank you for joining me today, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, man. After seeing the intro, I'm like ready to run through a brick wall. I mean, it's Kansas City 49ers. I am hyped up. All the news from this week, CNC. Oh, man, let's go. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the news, great news. Glad that we could have done our show earlier this week, right when the news broke. Obviously, given our thoughts on Christian McCaffrey. And it seems like that news might translate to Sunday because Christian McCaffrey will be a game-time decision. Kyle Shanahan will have up until 11:55, according to Matt Mayoko, to announce whether he's an inactive or active. And several sources have said that Christian McCaffrey could be active in this game, which is a good sign for the 49ers.
Yeah, it's an amazing sign. I mean, he's already injected new life into the 3-3, kind of, struggling, looking like the offense was stale, and they needed to inject or say it was like a jolt of energy to the locker room. I think the fans are hyped up. Even if he doesn't fit tomorrow, I think it's just going to be great for the atmosphere, the fans, the faithful, a decoy, the Chiefs to have to key in on him maybe and help take some pressure off of Debo and everybody. Man, I mean, I bought my jersey last night. I'm ready to go. I'm hyped up. And again, I think like Rap Sheet said he might play RedZone. Schefter says he doesn't know if he's going to play. But really, he's going to wait till the last second and let us know. And that's what he should do. He's a game match. And we're going to be waiting until a couple of minutes before the game to find out. So
yeah, because remember, guys, Christian McCaffrey, it's not like he has not played football for a minute. He played last week in Carolina. He practiced on on Tuesday and Wednesday as if it was real practice, and then learned about the news. He's been fully active this week in practice. Obviously, on Friday was not a participant because he had just flown in the middle of practice. But overall, it's going to be interesting news. And regardless, the 49ers should have an offensive jolt because they bring back Trent Williams into the fold this week with Mike McGlinchey as well off the injury report after sustaining a calf injury last week against the Falcons. Some good news all around. But before we get into the good news and the latest news, got to give a shout out to everybody that's popped in the chat. We see Raphael562Niners, Debbie, Ryan, everybody really in here that came so early. Thank you guys so much. We always appreciate when all of you guys come and show love. And speaking about something, Raj just announced that he bought his own Christian McCaffrey jersey. Stay tuned because as I announced on Wayne's show, I am actually giving away a Christian McCaffrey jersey. It's going to be one of my first giveaways. I gave away an Elijah Mitchell signed jersey. Christian McCaffrey is the next one. So stay tuned. Be sure to tap in with me on Twitter because that's where the news is going to break sometime soon. Christian McCaffrey, that's the next jersey that I'm giving away, guys. So be sure to stay tuned.
That's the biggest news. That's the biggest news of the week, Rohan. Sorry to interrupt. That's huge news. I should have waited and entered your contest. I spent the money.
You could have entered.
Not good. That's a great giveaway, man. Yo, shout out to Christian McCaffrey jersey. That's amazing. Maybe we can get it signed too. Look, do that. I don't know.
Maybe we can get it signed too. Let's see. But be sure to enter the giveaway because that is coming soon. Be sure to tap in with me on Twitter. So that for sure. Christian McCaffrey jersey on its way soon. But getting back to the 49ers, like I said, they are going to see an offensive jolt regardless because Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey, both of them will be healthy and active which means the 49ers will see their starting offensive line from week 1 for the first time in a while. Raj, how does that news matter?
That is, Colton McKivitz, Jalen Moore at left tackle, they've tried their hardest. Williams, all-pro, pro bowler. He is like one of the best players in the whole NFL. And we talked about it earlier this week. The run game has kind of sputtered a little bit, and I feel a lot of that has to do with the scheme and the zones. The zone offense. If you can't get the lanes to run through, you're not going to, whether CMC plays or not. Like, this is a massive situation for the Niners, because Chiefs, they have some pretty good linemen out there, Frank Clark, and hate those guys, but we're going to need to be able to block them. And Trent Williams is the star on that line. He's the transformed this defense. It's a lot easier to run behind him than Jalen Moore. It's a lot easier to protect the playmakers with Trent Williams. So this is massive. And Mike McGlinchey on the right side too, because he's your lineman. The guys have played hard as good as they can, but you need your starters, players out there. It gives you a better chance to win. So having Trent Williams back was huge, absolutely huge, man. I'm excited for the return of Trent.
No, you talked about it. And earlier last week, I actually put out an article specifically about the 49ers run game. It has seen a significant decline in efficiency in 2022, especially after Trey Lance got injured. So it was imperative that the 49ers got their entire starting group back so that they could at least have the best chance to function efficiently as an offense in the run game. There's a reason that the 49ers have gone away from the run game in recent weeks. It's because flat out, it hasn't worked. Jeff Wilson Jr., while he has performed pretty admirably in certain weeks, just doesn't have the requisite juice to hit the edge, which means the 49ers run game is one-dimensional currently. You only have the inside zone capable. And so you need every chip in your arsenal to efficiently get through that kind of portion, right? Because the one thing that we had in weeks past was that one big play. That Jeff Wilson Jr. touchdown run in against Los Angeles, a 41-yard run, a 32-yard run. That was really the catalyst of our offense. But last week, there was no one big play because the 49ers were lacking on the offensive line. I'm not going to say that's the one reason. The Atlanta Falcons played very good defense against the 49ers run. But obviously, having Trent Williams back, one of the best run blockers, if not the best run blocker in the NFL, as well as Mike McGlinchey, a guy known for his run blocking, that's going to be very, very impactful against a team where they're going to be able to score the football.
Yeah, and that's it, man. The Niners have to be able to play, and it starts with the run game, because if they can't run, we've seen it sputter. We've seen them score 11 points, and that's it. Like you said, the Jeff Wilson play, that was a catalyst. Every time you watch a 49-time run, you're like, okay, that's when the offense starts getting rolling, and they start feeling more comfortable because they're a team. They're their bully ball, right? Last week, 16 rushes. It's not going to get the job done. As I gave, Jimmy credit last week, he played better. One of the better games I've seen him play, but throwing the ball for success for the 49ers, you have to run. The starts up front with the trenches, and the man Trent huge. And like you said, McGlinchey, great run blocker. I think this is going to really help them score points. You got to be able to score, because they can score at a blink of an eye, like 15, 20 seconds. They can put. Obviously, we know we got to force turnovers and get in the face of Mahomes, but we also have to. And if you're running the ball, you're going to keep your offense out there. You're going to keep draining the clock, and you're not going to any time to come out and score. So that is another reason why we need the run game to operate. And then this is a crucial return to the offense. So it's all dubs for me.
Yeah, no. Real quick, Raj, somebody says your audio is pretty choppy. I'm not sure if it's the feed into the chat or not. But as Raj tries to look at that, when you talk about the offense and obviously Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey, the 49ers do run better when they're running towards the tackles. And so in the past couple of weeks, when you talk about Daniel Brunskill, Jalen Moore, different pieces being implemented, it's kind of shifted the 49ers to run in between. And that's where they face trouble. Why? Because in week 5, when the 49ers faced the Carolina Panthers, who did they go up against? Derek Brown, one of the better interior defensive linemen who did have a good game against Jake Brendel. In week 6, it was Grady Jarrett. And now the 49ers are going to probably face their toughest challenge of the year when Chris Jones is now there at that defensive tackle position, making it harder to run in between the tackles and really in between the center and the guard. So that's going to be an issue for the 49ers as well if they try and continue to pound that. And so in a way to open it up, a solution that me and Jack Hammer talked about last week was make them run, hit the outside, make them get out of position, because that's when you can really get that run game moving. So hit the outside, try and incorporate outside zone, be it with Tevin Coleman, be it with Jeff Wilson Jr., or even with Christian McCaffrey, now that you have your reinforcements back. Tight ends are also helping. You saw Tyler Kroft and George Kittle, obviously, not on the injury report. So you have a full kind of arsenal that you can utilize now offensively.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if my audio is good and still right what they say. I don't know. I tried to fix it. I think I might have fixed the problem, but you're absolutely right, man. In the run game, because they played some great D linemen, and I think you're right. Chris Jones is a phenomenal player, and he is going to be the toughest challenge. So you're right. Instead of pushing everything up the side runs, and even Debo, like I don't think they run enough of Debo just out wide. You edge, and I think this is a big game where they can kind of start implementing that. And he's a decoy. You can just have your guys. Everybody's going to key in on him, and then boom, shoot it out. I agree with you. We talked about that the other day on the show too. That's the key is trying to keep Kansas City basically run away from those guys like Chris Jones and Brown and Grady Jarrett instead of running to them, chase, and that's definitely a good strategy.
No, most definitely. And that, in a way, can hopefully open up some offensive avenues where the 49ers have really struggled with execution recently. That's been the main issue. The 49ers, execution-wise, have to improve, be it drop passes, be it incomplete throws that should have been completed, just the communication in general. That has been the issue. So the 49ers, that's the main goal, need to execute. Now you have the entire arsenal, like I said. This now is a no-excuse territory. You have to execute against a pass defense that has struggled at times and might play rookie cornerbacks on both sides like they played against the Bills last week. So generally, the 49ers, it looks like they are in good shape. That's going to be a big factor, though. Can they really sustain offensive execution overall?
Kansas City gives up points. Obviously, their defense isn't one of the tops in the league. They got a young cornerback. I just want to expose them somewhere. That's where they got to take advantage. And you're absolutely right. They may be a string rookie cornerback, and that have to be able to take advantage of it. And last week, a lot of missed opportunities. If you get those chances again, you cannot drop those passes. And then we talked about execution, consistency. Can they make those plays? And they're going to have them out there this week. Like every football game, every team gets a few opportunities, and you have to make those big time plays. And if they can't, it's going to be another big loss. But that is, again, that's the key is execution. Staying a big reason of falling apart and maybe changing your game plan. But at the end of the day, Charlie Warner trying to catch a pass or Ray McLeod, whatever, you're getting those opportunities. You got to make the most of those. Got to go out there and make the most of those chances. And speaking of health, though, man, we talked about Trent Williams in this game, and I think that's another huge piece of information that you're turning Nick Bosa, man. That is going to be massive for the 49ers defense.
Yeah. No, definitely. You flip to the defensive side of the ball. It's not only Nick Bosa. Last week, you heard about the significant amount of injuries that the 49ers had on that front. It was only maybe 3 or 4 starters that ended that game playing, right? Because no Nick Bosa, Samson Ebukam was in and out of that game. You had reserves along that defensive line with no Art Armstead or Javon Kinlaw. Talanoa Hufanga was in concussion protocol for a time, meaning that there were 2 safeties and Tashawn Gibson, maybe George Odom, Tavarius Moore out there. Obviously, you haven't had Jimmy Ward for a while. Linebackers-wise, you were fairly healthy, but no Azeez Al-Shire. In general, though, now the 49ers might be the most healthy that they've been in a long, long time on the defensive side. Jimmy Ward will return. He likely will play with a club on his hand. could see him in the big nickel. Nick Bosa will return, as you've said. Talanoa Hufanga is questionable at the moment. We do not know if he will exit concussion protocol. That final step had to happen today, so we will figure out tomorrow if he will return. But overall, the 49ers defensive line is getting healthier, which is a huge cog. But let's first talk about Nick Bosa. He's the biggest piece of them all. He returns, and we saw the dividends, right? Against Carolina, the 49ers were really, really dominant at the line of scrimmage. Against Atlanta, not so much. And Atlanta was a better offensive line. But now you face off against the Chiefs, a pretty solid offensive line, and Nick Bosa is going to be back. It's going to be important for him to play a key role in this game.
Yeah, 100%. I agree because, again, Nick Bosa, he's not just good against, and hitting the pass rush and everything. He's good against the run. You know what I mean? That guy, he's in this league, and then he's still top of the league in all the pass rush stats, right? QB pressures, QB hits, top of the game, and he missed a game and a half. So his importance can't be understated. He's running for Defensive Player of the Year. That's how important he is. You lose him, just a whole different. We've talked about Omenihu and Ebicam and Drake Jackson, and they stepped up, but they're not Nick Bosa. You can have all the depth. Your best player on defense. It's just like on offense. Trent Williams. It's basically the same impact, maybe even catalyst of this defense. And he always gets a lot of pressure, a lot of attention, double teams, triple teams. He's everybody else's job on the D line easier. I know Armstead's a big loss because he's such a good run stopper. Last week I was a little disappointed with Kevin Givens and Hassan Ridgeway, but I think that was because they didn't have Bosa. It's going to help Ridgeway. It's going to help, Kevin Givens, and they're going to get a lot less attention when Bosa is there. So last week it was tough for them to plug the gap and all over us, and they're a good running team. So it was tough for the Niners, and a lot of pressure on Greenlaw, and I think Nick Bosa just takes pressure off everybody in that defense. Hopefully, Travis Ward, he's probably 50-50 right now. I'm sure he's amped up. He wants to play this game, but man, if he doesn't play, it's definitely going to be a challenge for these cornerbacks, these younger cornerbacks. I mean, you'd rather have your cornerback one than a couple young guys against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, man, he'll light any defense up. So you want your best of your best. But yeah, it definitely starts with Nick Bosa. He's the star of the show, man. I think that's going to make a big difference for our defense. It's going to help keep us in it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the statistics, last week, how many pressures did the 49ers have against an Atlanta offensive line that is pretty good against the run, but more so iffy against the pass? They only had 5 pressures. And while they had a good amount of run stops because Atlanta ran the ball 41 times, that 5 pressures needs to increase when compared to the 49ers standards. And so that's where you're looking for the 49ers to improve this week. Like you said, the main thing that Nick Bosa does for this defensive line, he takes away double teams from other players. Yeah. Nick Bosa, Samson Ebukam, both players have commanded a significantly high rate of double teams this year. Nick Bosa has demanded a rate over 25%. Samson Ebukam over 20%. Those are both significantly high rates. So what does that matter? Charles Omenihu, who has been a dominant force this season, gets one-on-one matchups against guards and against centers sometimes, maybe even against tackles if he's lined up across the edge. That's beneficial for Charles Omenihu. Then Kevin Givens, a space eater in the middle, he might command double teams, and if not, he's disruptive on his own in the interior as well. You open up so many more avenues defensively, which is such a huge part for the 49ers. And that's the reason that they're able to dial up so much pressure. And this is not even including the linebacker blitzes that D'Amico Ryans includes, the cornerback blitzes that D'Amico Ryans includes, and the stunts that D'Amico Ryans includes, which frees up rushers and are normally fairly effective, which makes just things tougher for a defense, even with a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. Again, you can't understand just how effective Nick Bosa and how important he is. The impact he has on this defense, monumental. And that's why if you watch last week's game and you compare that to the last couple of weeks, and that's why I know we're Niner fans. We're going to sit here and pump Nick Bosa for Defensive Player of the Year, but you just see the way that the defensive pressure, like you said, 5 pressures. That's not Niner football. You see that usually at least 10, 15, 20 times. 5 pressures. You're going to let anybody throw all over the pocket. Marcus Mariota looked like Patrick Mahomes last week. It's because Nick Bosa wasn't back there. Those doubles where like you said, Ebukam and Amenu and all these guys can go out and that space. So 100%. Nick Bosa being back, the key, and he makes it so much easier because they don't have to, play pressed up, on their heels. So he impacts the whole defense from the line to the linebacker. That's the impact of Bosa, and the fact that we're getting him back, man, it's impressive. And I think he come in this game and just kill it because that Super Bowl loss. All these, I'm sure Nick Bosa wants to go in there.
Nick Bosa,
and
not even him, but yeah, Trevorius Ward.
Everybody.
And real quick, speaking on Mooney Ward, what do you think is the impact if he can play in this game?
Obviously, you get your cornerback one. Anytime you get your cornerback one, it's big. You don't want to have to go in. Your skills drop a little bit. No disrespect to anybody on this team, but Mooney Ward, they paid him for a reason. Money to be that guy, press cover corner, like man-to-man matchups. If we have to get on this guy can go out there and cover anybody out there. And also Travis Kelce, maybe he can go out there and help on. I'm telling you, man, that's a tough matchup with anybody on this cornerbacks out there. And Mooney Ward, he knows Mahomes' tendencies. He's a guy that so just his knowledge, just his ability to understand the schemes that the Chiefs do, it's going to be held him on the sideline. But when he's in there, his instincts will kick in. He can look at Patrick, and he has a certain defense for the last couple of years. So he knows if Mahomes has a certain look, if his foot planted a certain way, maybe he knows where he's going to throw the ball. So that to me is the biggest impact. The fact his old, he's playing against his old team. If he plays, that's huge. Anytime a guy plays against his former team and impress everybody and put on a show and say, "Hey, look at me now, man. I'm sure you guys miss me." It's one of those things. You just want to boost your ego and you want to go out there and your former team.
No, definitely. Ward has had on this year. He has allowed the 49ers to essentially shut down an entire catches. Yes, but they aren't the big catches that you'd expect. And he makes a play on the ball more. Isn't something you would say for corners. Most cornerbacks give up a completion percentage of over 50%. That Mooney Ward, though, is under 50%. And it isn't just this year. It's been since he's been one of the most underrated players in football and one of the best signings, if not the best signing for the 49ers. Struggled at the cornerback position in years past, be it due to injury or just availability. Mooney Ward has changed the dynamic of this 49ers defense by allowing the 49ers man coverage. D'Amico Ryans, Robert Saleh, all the defensive coordinators in the past in the play that man-to-man defense where they can implement different schemes, different looks that put their linebackers in good situations and have their quarterbacks play to their best of their abilities. He is going to play in this week. That's why they shut down Jason Verrett, because they knew that while this game is important, obviously he has a chip on his shoulder in a way. He's playing against his former team, where he said, "You got to show up, red and gold, in the stadium." And that kind of leaves me to another question for you, Raj. If Mooney Ward does play at cornerback,
Well, I didn't get that last.
Oh, if Mooney Ward does play, who do you think is on the outside at cornerback opposite of him? I think
on the opposite side,
Lenore, but
I think it's going to be Diamador Lenore. I think it's going to be Diamador. He's basically been that cornerback too since Mosley went down. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Lenore. Right now, you got to roll with Mooney, Lenore, and maybe I think that Womack might get all up Dante Johnson. So that kind of tells me that Mooney may, if he's 50, kind of go from there. Womack, Lenore, and then Johnson maybe out there too. So if Mooney plays, I got Lenore playing on the outside quarterback too, and probably slot. But I don't know. I part of me thinks that Dante Johnson was called up to play, whether it be in, I feel like Dante might get that shot because he's the veteran. I think that this is a very, very high-powered offense, and they might want to go with the veteran there. But again, if Mooney doesn't play, he's definitely going to play in there. But yeah, it's tough. But
yeah, I mean, when you talk about Mooney Ward, when you talk about, I think if he doesn't play, Lenore does go to the outside. Samuel Womack, Dante Johnson might be in the slot. That's the arrangement we saw in the second half last week. Spelled danger because the 49ers, those two outside cornerbacks aren't outside cornerbacks. We've seen both playing the slot. And while Samuel Womack did play outside at Toledo or at Oregon, I don't know if their skill sets match well on the outside. Quick routes in the passing game. Patrick Mahomes, while he does obviously have explosive playability, it's in game as well. And so that's another aspect of the game as well. So if Ward comes, but I expect Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to target the opposite side in the first half should that occur.
Yeah.
And so we'll see.
Yeah, regardless of, I mean, Patrick Mahomes knows who he's going to target real quick. And if Mooney plays, and that's going to be a nightmare of whoever's covering on that side, because that's what Patrick Mahomes is going to do. He's going to smart quarterback, and he's going to look at who's, the weak link and attack it. So that's why it's fun to be in there. Hopefully he could be there so he could be a shade guy. Jimmy Ward, man, he's a veteran. Oh, another guy, we talked about Nick Bosa wants revenge and all these guys. Jimmy Ward, man, this guy was talking trash about this game. He's ready to take Kelsey. I mean, this guy's ready to play with the club on his hand, like in this game. Broken hand, he doesn't care. He's got the cast. Jimmy Ward's going to be important, but I mean, the cast, we'll see how it goes. But man, this guy's going to be ready for this game. He's going to be juiced up. I feel like it's going to be a big important factor. These safeties are going to be a big factor backs, without Mosley. So Tashawn Gibson, Hufunga, Ward, these guys really got cornerbacks no matter what. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they throw one of these safeties in at cornerback for a few months, mix it up.
Yeah, no, and I mean, when you talk about Jimmy Ward specifically, Jimmy Ward has that's been Jimmy Ward's role at times because he's so versatile. In 2021, and look at the snap count for Jimmy Ward. He played 400 snaps as a safety. He played 200 snaps in the box and 200 snaps in the nickel. Jimmy Ward has all three roles, and he's been doing it consistently for the past 2 years. Yes, he's been injured. 49ers utilize him in. Maybe it's more so of a box role with that club, similar to how. But Jimmy Ward has the ability to erase other targets when utilized. Boldly claim that he can hold any tight end to under 50 yards. Guess what? You're facing of your career in terms of the tight end position at Travis Kelce. I know you face off against Travis Kelce. Jimmy Ward, it's time for you to show up when it needed, and fans should have confidence until they see otherwise about Jimmy Ward.
Nah, 100%. This is a game, like you said, he has the game. He wants to bring the smoke. He joked about it, how they probably kept the receipts. Regardless, Jimmy Ward's right. I think he plays more of a box role because, he's got the hand. He's not going to be able to free roam everywhere. So maybe help him, be an extra guy in the middle because Kelsey's going to go out there. You know how he runs those easy intermediate routes over the middle, man. If you got Jimmy Ward there coming for your head to get, any big passes, if you got Jimmy Ward gunning for you, that Travis Kelce. So we'll see.
Definitely. And overall, injury-wise, the 49ers do seem pretty healthy right now. Raj, before we end today's show, I want you and everybody in the chat, I want to hear your score predictions. All your score predictions down. Let's see. Do you guys have the 49ers winning, the Chiefs winning, and what's the score?
Yeah, no, my score prediction, I think it's like I said, it's going to be a close game. If the Niners win, it's going to be keep Mahomes on the bench. They got to be able to put points on the board. If they get mistakes, you have to score off those mistakes. You can't just drive and punt it back or go and get field goals. I think it's going to be Niners. I feel it's going to be a close game if they win. If they don't win, it won't be close.
I've seen a couple 27-24 Niners. I think this score, regardless, be as high scoring as many anticipate. I don't think that with both defenses playing, Steve Spagnuolo's an aggressive coordinator. He's going to want to erase the 49ers. So I think that neither team scores more than 30 points. I think the cap right now, we'll see who wins this game. I think it's going to be a fairly close debacle. Chiefs will win, which is pretty darn fair. 26-20 is what Throwback says, and then Swan says 27-24 49ers. After our team just said 27-23 Chiefs. A lot of different score predictions. I think the 40 shot in this. I think the Chiefs should be favored though in this game. We'll see how. Obviously, it is going to matter a ton. If the 49ers can get in the red zone, they haven't been as efficient as they've been. If Christian McCaffrey can be utilized in red zone situations, I think that's and get the 49ers more touchdowns, whereas they've been scoring a good amount of field goals this year.
Yeah, again, got to put up touchdowns instead of field goals. I hope CMC plays. That makes this team a little bit dangerous. If he plays in the red zone, I hope he scores, because if he touches the ball and he scores, that stadium's going to erupt, man. And that right there would be a monumental. That would be crazy. If CMC scores, I don't know if Kansas City would be able to. Obviously, they got Mahomes and Andy Reid, and they're great after a loss. But the Niners played pretty good after a loss. Jimmy G and a 3 following a loss. So, big game. A lot of stakes involved.
I think we see 2 bold predictions here. No Border Sports says Seahawks. And we also see Swansong asking over under 10 McCaffrey carries. The under on that, I don't think he's going to play as enough to be to get that amount. It should be a fun game. We're less than 24 hours from game time. The 49ers will face over 500. They're currently 3-3. Got to get over 500. A big time game. We'll hear about tomorrow morning in terms of game time decisions. Talano Hufanga questionable, and the big one, Christian McCaffrey. How will he go? We don't know right now. But guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys missed it at the beginning of the show, I am McCaffrey jersey, so stay tuned on my Twitter. I put it in the chat earlier. Be sure to follow me there so that you can enter the giveaway and potentially win a new Christian McCaffrey jersey. I'm joining the 49ers. But Raj, thank you so much for tuning in today. Any last thoughts?
Nothing, man. Appreciate all the hard work. And everybody, if you're following me, go follow Rohan on Twitter. Go we want to get that jersey, man. Go enter that jersey contest when he gives it away. That's dope, man. Hopefully with a nice jersey in the next couple days.
100%. Be sure to stay tuned on Twitter, and we'll see you guys next time. It's game time.